Agnes, Nina, congratulations on becoming new business owners and joining the British Swim School family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Let's talk a little bit about your new business. Tell us a little bit about British Swim School and who your customers are and what you're going to be doing.
Sure. So,
well, before we start, we just want to take a moment and thank you for everything that you've helped us through this journey so far, trying to figure out what would be the best fit, and went with us with different meetings, took your time out of your day, constantly educating us about different possibilities. So thank you for that.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for that.
Yeah, making us feel comfortable also, and giving us some direction about what we should invest our time in versus what we shouldn't be worrying about. So yeah, we appreciate that. So yeah, onto British Swim School. So the target audience of British Swim School is especially little children, anyone from as young as 6 months old to I'd say through middle school. But British Swim School also teaches adults how to teaches adults how to swim as well. You could say platform is really cool because this way we don't have to purchase and build out a pool on our own. We can go through like a third party, like a gym or a hotel that has an indoor swimming facility. That way we could have swim lessons year round, whereas other swimming organizations only allow it throughout the summer.
And those third-party organizations, they probably already have potential customers for you coming through the door. So exactly. That makes maybe getting it started a little bit easier then. That's great. That's great. And speaking of young children, you have one, a very young child. And and this brings up a good question. And I really appreciate you guys taking a couple of minutes. This will be shared with other people who, like you a few months ago, were starting to really dig in and explore this and see if it's right for you. At this juncture in your lives, why a business and why now?
So yeah, I can take a crack at it. So as you may know, that we have tried startups before, and technology startups are a high risk, high reward. The chances of success are low. Possibilities are always low. So like maybe hundreds of startups fail when one succeeds. And then we haven't hit that before in the past. Certainly that just means we have more experience now and we can do something. We're not stopping that journey. However, what we wanted at this point in time is for one of the person in the relationship to have a second income. Although we both are in software, Agnes has done project management and program management. As you know, software industry is also evolving, and there are always like this ups and downs. So we wanted to get into something which is different, not necessarily your previous same thing that we Agnes did before, and not a startup like where the risk is higher. Whereas in a franchise, the way we look at it is, there is a cost to get in. It's higher than what you would require for startup. Startup, what do you require? You just need like a few hundred, couple $1,000s and just good ideas and network and whatnot. Whereas in this case, you need a higher investment initially, but the probability of getting a steady income is higher as well. So from career standpoint, that makes sense. As far as with the baby, we felt like, well, that this business particularly gives time during the day to take care of the baby as well, but plus gives us the opportunity to work on a business too. So it had the right combination, and this is sort of like our thought process going into it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nina. That's great. Agnes, what would you weigh in on that?
I guess like from a different point of view, I say now being parents, we need a little bit more flexibility. So this meant in being able to become like business owners that we aren't like tied to the 9 to 5, but we can think in more strategic ways in launching our own business, being a bit more creative. But I like the idea of working with a franchise because we don't have to reinvent the wheel like with the startups. So this way we could really lean on the processes that are already established, the marketing departments that are already there. We don't have to do the branding, even though I've come from like a marketing background as well. It's great that I could just ramp up very quickly that way. And what else? I just, and
The probability of success goes up that way, right?
it does. Yeah, that's similar to Nina's explanation that way.
Yeah. And part of your due diligence was talking to other British swim school franchise owners and their experiences. And did you feel like you walked away from that with a sense of consistency or a sense of what to expect? Or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what did you walk away from with those?
For sure. That gave us a level of comfort. Talking to somebody, we have my sister has somebody, a friend who has done British swim school quite successfully here in Toronto area. We talked to him and she introduced us to him. That helped. That kind of gave us, okay, well, somebody we know is doing this, is recommending this. But they also said that, hey, it is something that you should consider doing full time. It's not ideal to do it part time. And then that fit right in. We were like, Agnes is totally cool to do it full time. Then we also talked to some local people and we saw they just started like a month ago.
Mhm.
And the outcome of that was they were able to say that, well, we can, getting the customers was not a problem. And you won't have a problem, they said, filling the classes is not a challenge. In that standpoint, we felt the chances of success increased, the risks reduced, and then we saw day-to-day operations, what they are doing. When you see it through the eyes, it just the level of comfort goes up, and that's what happened.
Sure. And not that anybody would ever say there's a crystal ball in any of this, but by getting exposed to what other people are doing within the same business model, you get a sense of what the challenges are and what you would expect around that, and what you need to do to make it successful in the early days and ongoing. So a bit more predictability than just trying to go out and figure it all yourself from the ground up. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, the onboarding coach that we're working with, she is really great at helping us like move along faster, to help us prioritize, okay, what we should be working on like week by week, to get a speedy opening.
that's great. The last question for you guys, and I'll let you get back to your vacation. There's a lot of people like you out there who are thinking about this, but they don't know where to get started. They don't know what they don't know. And now you're on the other side of making this choice. Just what would be some words of advice that you would have about how to think about this, how to approach it, any particular questions to ask, any words of the wise, anything that comes to mind that you felt was important in your journey that you would pass along to somebody who's a few months behind you in this?
Yeah, I can say something.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say definitely get a franchise advisor like you. That only benefits the people like us, and it's at like no cost for us. So that helps a lot as well. And then just that will help you to get through the different possibilities that are a good fit for your use case, their use case. Because as you know, there were some things that were presented to us and that we refused, and those could have been quite lucrative and will be quite lucrative for many other people. It just was not the fit for us. So going through someone like you would help them navigate through that different possibilities, at least see what the possibilities are, and then take that leap of faith and make that journey as well. If they also are looking for similar things like we are, trying to have your own autonomy, having a little bit less risk, and having that second income for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I certainly am unbiased, and I agree with you that yes, people should have a franchise advisor helping them along the way. So thank you for that bit of advice. And Agnes, what about you? Anything different that you would suggest to others?
I kind of like the profile that you helped us set up through like all the questions that you asked to help us like evaluate like how much like maybe a risk we want, how much sorry, how much like unknowns versus knowns that we want, how many employees that we want to have. So all of those, you have access like to the database. So that way we know that we wouldn't want to get into something that is like too big for us, or the other part of it is having to do too much of like a sales pitch for the business, where maybe that's not the main type of activity that we want to be doing. If we're much more excited about operations, then that way, that is something that I want to do. So me coming from my project management background, that is something that I want to do. I want to get all my employees on board. I want to make sure that all my lessons are going on like at the right time. So this is an activity that is very natural to me and fulfilling. So you have to get to know yourself, and sometimes by getting to see a few of the other franchises that are just very different. Like honestly, in our journey, we already like saw British Swim School, but we learned about all these others that were just that even like made us more confident about like British Swim School. And you have to take that journey. There's no way that I would have felt as comfortable just plunging into British Swim School without doing more research and talking to these other franchises.
Yeah, I think I like what Agnes just said. The difference between somebody who is more comfortable with operations versus sales. We are definitely more comfortable with operation. What that makes us feel is like the onus is on us. We can make it successful or make it fail. Sales made it more feel like if the job was more of a sales sort of thing, it made it feel like it's out of our control. Even if we tried, we may not be able to succeed. Here with operations, it's more about if we put more effort, we'll be able to get more customers, we'll be able to make a better user experience. So it's all in our hands to make it or break it. So that's what we liked as well.
And you've touched on, I think, a really important few things for people at the onset of a journey like this to hear. Number one, you really have to be aware of your own skill sets. And number two, you have to really pay attention to what is the skill set required in the franchise model. And as you've seen, that's different. We looked at some where it's very sales oriented, and you guys said that's not us. We need to focus on opportunities that really are more marketing driven, that will leverage your operations, leverage your project management skills. So the skills required of the owner of the franchise are a key way that we start to filter through all your various options. And secondly, you looked at a lot of different things, and that research by comparison helps people to really understand when they say yes to something, it helps them come to a more confident yes, because they've said no to other options and they understand why. So it's, and I'll underscore another thing you said, Nina, that there's great franchises, but just because it's a great franchise doesn't mean it's great for you. It's got to be a great franchise, but it also has to be great for you. And I'm thrilled for you both that you found one that checks those boxes for you. And I'm delighted to be a part of that journey.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely second what you just said. It has to be the right fit for you. There are probably, and I know certainly there are some franchises which we could get in at the same cost, and were more lucrative, just not something that we feel was for us, or fit for us rather. Yeah.
And our journey does not end here. We're friends. I'm good at staying in touch. So I'm excited to hear all about your getting started, and as you reach these milestones in your business, that I view myself kind of as on your trusted board of advisors, and I'm here, and I love to get the calls of, we got our first customers and we just surpassed this anniversary. So look
Absolutely.
part of that journey with you.
One question there, Leslie, is it okay for us to recommend you to somebody? Like, do you work in that fashion as well?
Absolutely. I love referrals. That is most of my business. So please be liberal about connecting with your friends and colleagues and neighbors who are also seeking new opportunities.
Oh, I didn't know if it was like a random person gets assigned, or it's okay for you to be the person to go.
Oh, no, like that. Most of my business comes through referrals. So
Okay, great. Then
Yeah.
we'll happy to do that, because we enjoy working with you so much. We want our friends to take advantage as well.